Imagine that your table, that place of gathering, work and rest, is much more than just a surface. Did you know that what you place on it can directly influence the energy flowing in your life? In this video, we will reveal a secret from Buddhist wisdom that could transform your destiny. What you place on your table can either attract or repel money and abundance. Discover which items should never be there if you want to unlock a constant flow of prosperity and peace. Stay with us and transform your space into a magnet for good fortune. In Buddhist teachings, we understand that our home is a mirror of our mind and spirit. Every corner of our living space has an impact on our energy, and the table, being a central gathering place, can either attract prosperity or push it away. That's why it's important to be mindful of what you place on it. What you put on your table can reflect your relationship with money and abundance. Just as water must flow freely to remain clean, your energy must flow unhindered to draw prosperity. In this video, you will learn how to keep your table clear, not just of objects, but of negative energy, so that the flow of abundance can enter your life. Disorganized financial documents. Buddhist teachings remind us that anything out of place in our home is a reflection of something within ourselves. It's as if every object has its own heartbeat, its own energy. Now imagine a table cluttered with disorganized papers, receipts, bills, forgotten bank statements, all piled up in chaos. These papers are more than just documents. They act like tiny seeds, planting disorder and confusion into your life. Have you ever stopped to think about how this disorganization affects your relationship with money? Let me share a story to illustrate what I mean. There was a woman named Rosa who lived in a small apartment. She was hard-working but had always struggled financially. No matter how much she worked, opportunities seemed out of reach and her life felt stuck in a cycle of lack. One day, seeking a solution, she visited a Buddhist monk at his local temple. The monk invited her to his home to better understand her situation and the energy of her space. When they arrived, the monk noticed Rosa's table, filled with disorganized papers, unpaid receipts, shopping lists, forgotten bank statements, all mixed together in a chaotic pile. The monk calmly observed the papers and said to Rosa, "Your financial documents are a reflection of your mind. Each of these scattered papers is a seed of confusion and disorder. When money comes into your life but your mind is cluttered, the money too will scatter and slip away." Rosa didn't fully understand at the time, but the monk continued, "Just as water needs to flow to stay clean, your relationship with money requires order. If you let these papers pile up and mix without addressing them, you are sending the universe a message of chaos, and that is what you will attract." That night, Rosa decided to make a change. She began organizing all her papers, gathering every receipt and bill and sorting them according to their importance. As she did so, she felt something inside her shift. Each document she put in place not only represented an act of order, but also a step towards peace and clarity. And the most amazing thing happened in the following weeks. Her financial situation began to improve. Payments began to flow more easily, and Rosa felt that money no longer slipped through her fingers. The clutter had disappeared, and with it the confusion in her financial life. Just like Rosa, perhaps you have allowed papers to pile up on your table without paying much attention. However, the disorder of these documents could be sending a signal to the universe that you are not ready to receive abundance. Always organize your bills, receipts, and financial documents. Each time you put them in order, you are clearing the path for money to flow freely to you. Remember, as the wise teachings of Buddhism remind us, external clarity reflects internal clarity. And when you organize your environment, chaos dissolves, opening space for prosperity. Dirty plates and food left over. Let me share a story that illustrates why dirty dishes and leftover food might be affecting the positive energy in your life. Many years ago, in a small monastery nestled in the mountains, there lived a wise monk named Lama Dorje. Lama Dorje was known for his deep understanding of the energies surrounding people and his ability to teach others how to balance those energies through simple, everyday practices. One day, a young woman named Lian, who lived in a nearby village, came to him seeking advice. Like many in the village, Lian was struggling to find peace and prosperity in her life. Her home was a place of chaos with things always out of place, especially on her dining table. After every meal, she would leave dirty plates on the table without cleaning them, and food remnants would remain there until they decomposed or turned rancid. Lian didn't see the problem. She thought it wasn't important and that she could take care of it later. But as time passed, she began to notice that her life was becoming more chaotic. Her personal relationships grew tense, and she felt that her money was never enough. She found herself trapped in a constant cycle of stress and lack of well-being. That's when she decided to seek the wisdom of Lama Dorje. Upon hearing her story, the monk asked her to accompany him to her home. When they arrived, they headed straight for the dining table. Lama Dorje observed the dirty plates and food scraps Lian had left there. With a calm smile, the monk asked her to remove them and clean the table. Lian, somewhat surprised, began to gather the plates and clean them, but she still didn't fully understand the connection between her problems and the messy table. Lama Dorje, with his calm and deep voice, began to speak. "Lian," he said, "the table is a sacred place. It is where we share our food, our energy, and our relationships. When you leave dirty dishes on it, you are not only leaving physical residue but also sending a message to the universe that abundance is not important to you, that you are not giving it the care and respect it deserves." The monk continued, "In Buddhism we understand that energy flows through everything we do. The food left on the table is like the energy that nourishes your life. If you do not clean it, if you do not let it go, you are blocking the flow of that energy. The food scraps that are not removed in time are like stagnant energy. They must be cleaned so the space can renew itself. Imagine," said Lama Dorje, "that food is like abundance. If we leave it on the disordered table unattended, we are showing that we do not value what we have, that we do not care for the space where abundance can flow. Cleaning the table is an act of respect for what we have received, and also an act of preparation for what is to come." Lian, upon hearing the wise words of Lama Dorje, began to understand. It wasn't just about cleaning the plates. It was about cleaning her life, freeing herself from clutter and making space for the new, for abundance. She decided that from that day on she would clean her table after every meal, not letting food scraps accumulate. As the days went by, she noticed something extraordinary. Not only did her table look more organized, but she also felt a renewal in her life. Her relationships became more harmonious and she started receiving financial opportunities that once seemed out of reach. Abundance began to flow toward her, not just in the form of money, but also in peace and well-being. Just like Lian, maybe you have also allowed dirty plates and food scraps to accumulate on your table without realizing the impact it has on your life. Every time you clean your table, you are making space for abundance and allowing positive energy to flow freely. Remember that food and cleanliness are symbols of respect, both for what you have received and for what is to come. Keep your table clean after every meal, and you'll see prosperity begin to arrive in unexpected ways. Never underestimate the power of a simple act of cleaning. It is a way to purify your environment and prepare the way for a life full of peace and abundance. Old or worn-out clothing. Let me tell you a story that illustrates why old or worn-out clothing might be blocking abundance in your life. Many years ago, in a small village surrounded by green mountains, there lived a young man named Jin. Jin was known for his great kindness, but also for his constant struggle to find stability in his life. Although he worked hard, he felt that something was always missing. Despite his efforts, it seemed that prosperity never reached his doorstep, and he found himself trapped in an endless cycle of lack. One day, feeling a deep need to change his luck, Jin decided to visit an elderly wise man who lived on the hills. This elder, known as Master Choi, was respected for his wisdom in the arts of balance and harmony in life. With hope in his heart, Jin asked for his advice. Master Choi received him kindly and, after hearing Jin's story, invited him to accompany him to his home. Jin was curious, as he had heard about how Master Choi lived a simple and orderly life, and he thought that perhaps there was something he could learn by observing him. Upon arriving at Master Choi's house, Jin noticed something very peculiar. There was no excess of belongings. Everything in the home was ordered and clean, but above all, each object seemed to be there for a reason. There was no old clothing or items that were worn out or out of place. Everything was well taken care of. After a while, Master Choi asked Jin to accompany him to the main room of the house. There, on a small table, Jin noticed some garments that Master Choi had used for many years. The master spoke to him. Jin, clothing is more than just an item we wear. In our culture, clothing also symbolizes our relationship with the world, with abundance, and with the flow of energy in our lives. The old or worn-out clothing we keep not only reflects physical wear, but also our attitude toward the new and prosperous. Jin, somewhat confused, listened attentively as Master Choi continued. When we keep things in our life that no longer serve us, like old or worn-out clothing, we are blocking the flow of abundance. The universe, the energy surrounding us, is like the water in a river. If the water stagnates, it becomes dirty and lifeless. But if it flows freely, it brings new life, energy, and prosperity. The same happens with our belongings. If we keep things that no longer serve us, we are closing the way to the new. Master Choi explained, when clothing is old and worn, its energy is also worn out. Old clothing holds the energy of the past, of what no longer has value in your life. When you keep wearing or storing clothes that no longer serve you, you are embracing the past, and that makes it harder for the future, with all its potential and prosperity, to enter your life. Jin, feeling something inside him begin to change, asked the master what he should do. The master smiled and said, "You must start by freeing yourself from what you no longer need. Throw away the clothing that is worn out, repair it, donate it if possible. But most importantly, you must make space for the new. The new, the prosperous, needs space to come to you." Grateful for the teachings, Jin returned to his place, determined to make the change. He began to review his wardrobe and removed all the clothes he no longer wore, the ones that were torn or simply no longer served him. At first he felt strange, as if he were getting rid of something very valuable, but soon he realized that by freeing up space, he was also freeing his mind and heart. He no longer carried the weight of the past. Over time, something wonderful began to happen. Abundance began to enter his life in ways he had not imagined. His relationships improved and financial opportunities started coming his way. The flow of prosperity became clearer and smoother, just as Master Choi had taught him. Just like Jin, perhaps you have kept old or worn-out clothing in your life without realizing that, beyond the simple object, this clothing might be blocking the energy of abundance. By keeping things that no longer serve us, like worn-out or torn clothing, we are closing the path to the new, to the fresh, to the prosperous. Remember that everything in your life is a reflection of what you allow. If you free your space by letting go of the old and what no longer holds value, you will be opening the door for new opportunities and positive energy to enter. Do it with love and gratitude for what has served you, but do not be afraid to let it go, because when you do, the universe will fill that void with what you need to grow, prosper, and live in peace. Wilted flowers or dry plants. Let me tell you a story that will help you understand why wilted flowers or dry plants may be affecting the positive energy in your life. Many years ago, in a village surrounded by green hills, there lived a young woman named Hana. Hana was known for her kindness and her love of flowers. Her home was always adorned with vases filled with fresh flowers, and she loved to see how their colours shimmered in the sunlight. However, despite her affection for the beauty of flowers, Hana couldn't help but feel empty inside. Even though her outer life seemed calm, she felt that something was missing. Things weren't progressing as she had hoped, and opportunities never seemed to come. One day, in her search for answers, she decided to visit an elder named Lama Tasi. Lama Tasi was a wise man known for his deep understanding of the flow of energy in homes and people's lives. After hearing Hana's concerns, the Lama invited her to walk through his garden, a place full of life, flowers, and healthy plants. As they walked, Hana couldn't help but notice something in particular. Every plant seemed to be flourishing with strength and vitality, from the smallest herbs to the largest trees. Lama Tasi, noticing that Hana was observing attentively, began to speak softly. Hana, flowers are much more than just colors and fragrances. In Buddhist teachings, flowers symbolize life, renewal, and the flow of energy. But wilted flowers, just like dry plants, represent something different, the death of that energy, the stagnation that settles when we hold on to what no longer serves us. Hana looked at him curiously, and the Lama continued. When you place wilted flowers or dry plants in your space, whether on your table or in any corner of your home, you are inviting the energy of decay. It's as if you are holding on to what has already died, instead of making room for what can bloom and grow. The energy flowing in your life is affected, and prosperity, peace, and abundance cannot enter a space where one clings to what no longer serves. The elder gestured toward a small vase of fresh flowers resting on a nearby table. Look at these flowers, said Lama Tasi. These fresh flowers, full of color and life, represent the positive energy flowing in your life. The freshness of the flowers indicates an open mind, ready to receive the new, the prosperous, the full of life. Just as flowers need to be watered and cared for to stay alive, we too must take care of the space around us. We cannot allow what is dead or wilted to occupy space in our lives, for that blocks the flow of positive energy. Life is in constant movement, in constant renewal, and if we allow fresh flowers to adorn our space, we are also inviting vital and prosperous energy into our lives. Hana, surprised by Lama Tasi's words, began to understand. For years she had kept wilted flowers in her home, believing they were simply mementos or decorative details. But upon hearing the Lama's wisdom, she realized she had been keeping stagnant energy in her life that was preventing her from moving forward. She decided upon returning home that she would never again allow wilted flowers or dry plants in her space. She began to decorate her home with fresh flowers and care for them with the same love and dedication she gave her family. As the days went by, Hana began to feel a profound change. Not only did the fresh flowers fill her home with beauty, but she also began to experience a change in her life. Her relationships became more harmonious, opportunities began to knock on her door, and abundance started to flow into her life. The atmosphere of her home, full of life and colour, now reflected the positive energy she had been seeking for so long. Just like Hana, perhaps you have had wilted flowers or dry plants on your table without realizing how they might be affecting the energy of your home. Fresh flowers are a symbol of vitality, growth, and the positive energy that comes when we clean and renew our space. Remember that life is a cycle of constant renewal. Just like flowers, you must allow the old to leave to make room for the new. Do not let what has died occupy space in your life, for that may be blocking the prosperity you desire. By placing fresh flowers or healthy plants on your table, you are inviting abundance, peace, and vitality into your life. Do it with love and gratitude, and you will see how your environment begins to reflect the positive energy you've been seeking. Broken or damaged items. Many years ago, in a small monastery nestled on the slopes of a mountain, there lived a monk named Tenzin. Tenzin was known for his deep wisdom, gained through years of meditation and reflection. His life was simple and his possessions were few. However, there was something he always carried with him, something very special, an old vase that had belonged to his master. This vase, though worn by the years, was a symbol of respect and wisdom. Tenzin used it for his daily rituals, treating it as a sacred object. One day, while meditating in his cell, Tenzin heard a strange noise. He rose and, walking toward his table, saw that the vase had fallen to the floor, breaking into several pieces. A feeling of sadness overwhelmed him, not just because he had lost a valuable object, but because this object represented something much greater, his connection to his master's wisdom. He decided not to let the pain of the loss take over him. Instead of ignoring what had happened, he carefully picked up the pieces of the vase and placed them in a corner of his cell. He thought that perhaps one day he could repair it, but at first he left it there, waiting for time to heal the wound. Days later, Tenzin met an elderly wise man who lived in a nearby monastery. The elder, upon seeing the broken vase in the corner, gently asked, "Tenzin, why have you left this damaged object in your space?" Tenzin, somewhat embarrassed, replied, "It is my master's vase, and although it is broken, I cannot get rid of it. It reminds me of the wisdom and gratitude my master taught me." The elder smiled and said to Tenzin, "I understand the sentimental value of that vase, but let me tell you something important. What is broken or damaged reflects the state of our energy. When we leave a broken object in our space, we are allowing the energy to stay trapped. A broken object is a symbol of something that no longer serves, and if we don't repair it or eliminate it, that stagnant energy can affect our entire life. Money, relationships, opportunities, everything in life is energy." The elder continued, "When we let the damaged occupy space, we are sending a message of disorder and neglect towards our abundance. The universe responds to what we give, and if we allow chaos to accumulate in our lives, we are also closing ourselves off to prosperity." Tenzin reflected deeply on these words, and upon returning to his cell, he decided to act. Instead of leaving the broken vase in a dark corner, he chose to repair the pieces. He spent hours carefully fixing it with patience and dedication, respecting each part as if it were a part of himself. Over time, the vase returned to its original state, though with small marks from its breakage, now representing a story of renewal and care. Just like Tenzin, perhaps you have broken or damaged items in your home that you've set aside without repairing or removing them. These objects, though they sometimes seem harmless, have the power to disrupt your space and block the positive energy flowing in your life. In Buddhist teachings, we understand that everything in our environment reflects our internal state. What we keep in our home is a reflection of how we care for our relationships, finances, and prosperity. If you leave broken or damaged objects in your space, it's like allowing disorder to take over your life. The universe responds to the signals we send, and if we are surrounded by what is broken, we may also be allowing our abundance to break or stagnate. Remember that everything in life needs care and attention. If you have broken or damaged objects in your home, whether it's a broken vase, a lamp, or any other item, I invite you to repair or remove them. This act of repair will not only restore the object, but also restore the energy in your life, allowing abundance and prosperity to flow without obstacles. 6. Keys, coins, or valuable objects. Many years ago, in a small town near a river, there lived a woman named May. May was known for her generosity and kindness, but she also had constant difficulties managing her money. Whenever she received something valuable, whether coins, keys, or small precious objects, she would leave them carelessly on the table or in any corner of her house as if they weren't important. One afternoon, after receiving a generous donation of silver coins, she left them on her table, thinking she would store them later. But the day passed and the coins remained there. The next day, she left them next to her keys and other small items she had accumulated over the years. She didn't think much of it, as she was so used to seeing those objects scattered and disorganized on her table. Soon after, May began to notice that things weren't going well. Her financial life seemed to be spiraling out of control. Money never lasted long enough, and economic opportunities seemed to fade quickly. May felt that something was wrong, but she didn't know exactly what it was. So she decided to visit a wise elder who lived in the nearby mountains, known for his ability to help people understand the energy flows in their lives. The elder welcomed her with a calm smile, and after listening to her story, invited her to accompany him to his home. After walking together for a while, the elder led May to a small table in the center of his home. There, May saw something surprising. On the elder's table, there were no scattered objects or messy coins. Everything was carefully organized, and valuable items like a small jade vase were placed respectfully in their place. "May," said the elder, "I've heard your story, and I see that you leave your valuable objects on the table in disarray. Coins, keys, and everything you consider important must be treated with respect and care. When you leave your belongings in disorder, you send the universe a message of chaos, a lack of respect for what you have. Not only are you showing that you don't value what you've been given, but you are blocking the flow of energy in your material life," the elder continued. "The keys, coins, and all valuable objects represent more than just simple material things. They are symbols of the energy flowing in your life. Keys open doors, coins represent exchange and abundance. If you leave them in disorder, you're sending a signal to the universe that you are not ready to receive more, that you don't have control or respect for what's given to you. What you don't organize and care for cannot flow harmoniously." May, upon hearing the elder's words, immediately understood what she had been doing. She had allowed disorder to invade her material life without realizing that every scattered object on her table represented a wasted opportunity, a blocked flow of energy. She decided to put into practice what the elder had taught her, to begin storing all her valuable objects in their place, with respect and care. Upon returning home, May carefully organized her coins and keys, making sure everything was in its proper place. Soon, something began to change. Not only did her table look more organized, but she also began to experience a change in her life. Financial opportunities that once seemed far off began to arrive, and her relationship with money became more harmonious and respectful. Just like May, maybe you have left your keys, coins, or other valuable objects scattered on your table without order. Each of these objects holds much more significance than it seems at first glance. Keys represent access, coins represent abundance, and how you treat these objects reflects your attitude toward prosperity. When you leave them in disorder, you send the universe the message that you don't value them enough, that you're not ready to receive more. If you want to attract more abundance and order into your life, start by treating your valuable objects with the respect they deserve. Put your keys in their place, organize your coins and precious items with care, and you will see how, little by little, your relationship with money and prosperity will change. The order in your home is a reflection of the order that should exist in your material life, and this small act of care will open the doors for abundance to flow freely to you. 7. Photographs of family or loved ones. Let me tell you a story that illustrates why photographs of your loved ones on the table can affect the energy of your home and your relationship with abundance. Many years ago, in a quiet village surrounded by mountains, lived a woman named Leon. Leon was a very loving woman, always surrounded by her family and friends in her home. The dining table was adorned with several photographs, images of her children, her parents, and even a photo of her grandmother, who had passed away a few years ago. Leon felt that having the photos of her loved ones visible kept her connected to them, filling her with love and good memories. However, despite the loving atmosphere in her home, Leon began to notice that her life wasn't going as she expected. Although her family always supported her, she felt as though something was blocking her path to prosperity. Opportunities never came. Money seemed to slip through her fingers, and every time she tried to move forward, it felt like something was holding her back. That's when she decided to seek the wisdom of an elderly monk who lived on a nearby hill. The monk, known for his serenity and deep understanding of energy, received her with kindness. After listening to her, he asked her to accompany him to his home to observe her space. When they entered Leon's house, the monk noticed the numerous photographs on the table. A soft smile appeared on his face, but then, in a calm voice, he said, "Leon, I see how much you love your family. It's beautiful to see how the photos of your loved ones fill your home with love and memories. but there's something in the space of your table that's affecting the flow of abundance in your life. Leon, somewhat surprised, asked, "How can this affect my prosperity? The photos are what I treasure most in life. They are the source of my love." The monk looked at her with understanding and continued, "I understand your affection for them, but you must understand that the photographs of your loved ones, especially on the table, do not allow the flow of abundance to enter freely. The photos represent the past, moments that have already passed and cannot be changed. By placing them on your table, you're putting them in a space that should be free to receive new opportunities and energies. This space should be open, not one of retention. Your photos, though filled with love, symbolize the connection to what has already been, and that can limit the new things that can come into your life." The monk continued, "Buddhist teachings teach us that the past is a great blessing, but it can also be a burden if we carry it too close. By placing photographs of your loved ones on the table, you're bringing the energy of the past into a place that should be prepared for the arrival of the new, what is to come. Money, opportunities, and future blessings need space to enter." Leon listened attentively, and the monk added, "I invite you to place those photos elsewhere in your home, in a place where you can see them and feel connected, but without them interfering with the energy of prosperity that you need on your table. Remember, the table is a sacred place of encounter, not only with your family, but also with the opportunities the universe wants to send you." When Leon returned to her home, she decided to follow the monk's advice. She placed the photographs of her loved ones in a special corner of her living room, where she could see them whenever she wanted, but without them occupying space on the table. As the days passed, Leon began to notice a change in her life. Opportunities started coming to her more easily, relationships improved, and the flow of money and positive energy increased. She realized that by creating space for the new, her life was filled with new blessings and possibilities. Just like Leon, perhaps you have placed photos of your loved ones on your table, thinking this connects you to them and the happy moments of the past. But you must remember that the space in your home is a representation of the energy flowing in your life. The photos of your loved ones represent past moments and relationships that, though precious, should not block the flow of new things. The table is a place where opportunities, prosperity, and the future should be received with open arms. If you have photos of your loved ones on it, perhaps unknowingly, you're bringing the energy of the past into a place that should be ready for the new. It's not about stopping loving or remembering your family, but about giving them a special place where love and respect for them don't interfere with the flow of abundance. Remember, the energy of abundance needs space to enter. Keep your photos in a place where you can feel connected, but allow your table to be a space for the future, where new blessings can arrive and flourish. 8. Broken mirrors or distorted reflections. Many years ago, in a city surrounded by constant bustle and activity, there lived a man named Li Lei. He was a hard-working and ambitious man, always striving to improve his life and achieve prosperity. However, despite his efforts, he felt that something always kept him in a cycle of uncertainty. His finances never seemed to improve, and opportunities never materialized. It felt like no matter how much he worked, he was always trapped in a place of confusion and disorder. One day, seeking answers, he decided to visit a wise elder who lived on the outskirts of the city. This elder, known for his wisdom in harmonizing spaces and understanding the energy flowing through them, had helped many people find peace and prosperity in their lives. Upon arriving, Li explained his problems, and the elder invited him to walk through his home. As they walked, Li noticed that the elder's house was peaceful, orderly, and filled with serene energy. Every object was in its place and each space seemed balanced. But something caught Li's attention. On one of the walls was a large mirror that was slightly cracked. Curious, Li pointed to the mirror and asked, "Master, why do you have this mirror with a crack? Isn't it important for mirrors to be intact?" The elder smiled gently and replied, "Li, mirrors are powerful symbols in our lives. Not only do they reflect our physical image, but they also reflect our internal reality, our relationship with the world around us. A broken mirror is not just a damaged object. It is a reflection of an internal imbalance, of confusion that could be affecting all areas of your life, from your finances to your relationships. The elder continued, "Mirrors have the power to multiply what they reflect. If there is something broken or damaged, that gets multiplied in your life. A broken mirror or a distorted reflection is like a signal that the energy in your life is disordered. The universe responds to the signals we send, and if you constantly see a broken or confusing reflection in your mirror, that may be reflecting the confusion and disorder in your life." Concerned, Lee asked, "Then how can I change this? How can I make my life clearer and more fluid?" The elder looked at him serenely and said, "The first step is to repair or remove everything that is damaged in your home, especially the mirrors. A cracked mirror reflects confusion, and that can interfere with the clarity of your path. If you want prosperity, harmony, and balance, you must begin by reflecting that in your space. Make sure the mirrors in your home are in good condition, free of cracks or distortions. A clean and undamaged mirror will reflect clarity and attract peace and abundance." Lee understood the elder's words. Upon returning home, he decided to repair all the mirrors that were broken or damaged. With patience, he cleaned and fixed the mirrors, ensuring they reflected his space clearly and in an organized manner. He also began to observe how these subtle changes affected his daily life. Over time, he noticed his mind clearing, his decisions becoming more certain, and opportunities for prosperity starting to come with greater ease. Just like Lee, perhaps you have broken mirrors or confusing reflections in your home. These mirrors not only reflect your physical image, but also the energy of your life. A broken mirror is a symbol of confusion, a lack of clarity. If you let these mirrors stay in your home, you're allowing confusion to reflect in your life. The energy flowing through your home and material life can be affected by these symbols of disorder. If you want to attract prosperity, clarity, and harmony, start by taking care of the mirrors in your home. Ensure they are in good condition, free of cracks or distortions, and you will see how clarity begins to reflect in your life as well. The first step toward finding balance is to repair what is broken, so that the flow of abundance and peace can enter without obstacles. 9. Disharmonious elements of nature. Let me tell you a story that illustrates why natural elements like stones, shells, or branches can alter the harmony of your home if not placed correctly. Many years ago, in a secluded village by the sea, lived a man named Yao. Yao was a man deeply connected to nature. Since he was young, he had collected stones, shells, and branches, elements he found on his walks along the beach and through the nearby forests. He believed these objects carried special energy that could bring peace and wisdom into his home. For this reason, he had a variety of these elements scattered throughout his house, on tables, in windows, and even in his personal space. However, despite his connection to nature and the love he felt for these objects, something was wrong in his life. Although Yao tried hard to live according to his principles, he felt he couldn't find the peace he sought. His home, despite being filled with beautiful items, seemed disorganized and chaotic. Opportunities didn't come, and he always felt there was something in his surroundings blocking the flow of good energy. One day Yao decided to seek advice from an elderly wise man, known throughout the region for his ability to read the energy of spaces. The elder, upon hearing Yao's concerns, invited him to walk through his home. As they walked through the house, the sage observed in silence the objects Yao had placed in his home. Large stones in the corners, shells scattered on the tables, dry branches adorning the windows. The elder, with his voice, said, "Yao, I understand your love for nature and your intentions to bring peace into your home, but let me tell you something important. Natural elements have powerful energy, but they must be placed with harmony and care. When you place a stone or a shell without thinking about its placement, or when you use dry branches without considering their energy, you are destabilizing the flow of energy in your home. Intrigued, Yao asked, "How is it possible that something so natural could alter the energy of my home?" The elder looked at him patiently and explained, "Nature, in its essence, is full of balance. Stones, shells, branches, these elements all have energy that can be beneficial if placed in the right spot. But if they are not placed with attention, or if they are not in harmony with the space, they can create disorder and confusion. Imagine that in your body, each organ has a place and a function. If one of those organs is out of place, balance is lost and the whole body is affected. The same happens with the natural elements in your home. Each one has its energy, and if it is not in the right place, it can block the flow of prosperity, peace, and harmony." The elder continued. "For example, dry branches symbolize death and stagnation. If you leave them in your home, you're bringing that energy of stagnation. Shells, if mislocated, can create disharmony because they are elements of the sea of fluidity. But if not placed correctly, they can disrupt that fluidity. And stones, while symbols of stability, can create blocks of energy if misplaced, preventing abundance and peace from entering your life." Yao, upon hearing the elder's words, began to understand the importance of placing natural elements with more awareness. Upon returning home, he decided to reorganize the objects he had collected. He placed the stones in the corners of his house where they symbolized stability and protection, positioned the shells near the windows where they could attract the energy of the sea without disrupting the flow of light, and removed the dry branches, leaving only living green plants that represented growth and renewal. As the days passed, Yao noticed a significant change. His home was filled with a new energy, lighter and more harmonious. Opportunities began to arrive, relationships improved, and he finally felt that the peace and abundance he had longed for started to flow into his life. Just like Yao, you may have elements of nature in your home, such as stones, shells, or branches, but haven't considered their placement with the attention they deserve. These elements can bring much peace and positive energy into your life, but if not properly positioned, or if they don't contribute to harmony, they can disrupt the energy flow in your home and destabilize your material and spiritual life. Remember that nature is a symbol of balance. If you decide to integrate these elements into your space, do so with care. Place stones in areas that represent stability, shells in places that attract fluidity and harmony, and remove dry branches, as their energy can block growth and prosperity. Allow the energy in your home to flow freely, and you will see how peace, abundance, and opportunity begin to come to you. 10. Objects that generate conflict or stress, such as unanswered emails or pending notifications. Many years ago, in a quiet village at the foot of the mountains, lived a woman named May. May was dedicated to her work and family, always concerned with fulfilling all her responsibilities. Although her life was filled with love, it was constantly marked by the pressure of unfinished tasks, unread emails, and an endless to-do list. Every time she sat at her desk, whether to eat, work, or rest, she saw piles of papers, unanswered emails, and notifications on her phone constantly calling for her attention. Despite her efforts to keep everything organized, May felt that her mind was always occupied, constantly reminding her of what still needed to be done. She couldn't enjoy a moment of peace because there was always something pending that worried her. Stress accompanied her even when she wasn't working, and although she loved her family, she felt that anxiety was taking control of her life. One day, May decided to visit a wise elder who lived in the nearby mountains. This elder was known for his ability to help people find calm in their lives through simplicity and order. When May arrived at his home, she explained her situation, and the elder invited her to walk through his house. As they walked through the elder's home, May noticed something amazing. On all the tables, the surfaces were clean and clear. There were no piles of papers or phones full of notifications. In every space there was a sense of calm, as if time had stopped in that place. May asked the elder curiously, "Master, how do you manage to keep everything so organized? It doesn't seem like there's anything to worry about." The elder, with a calm smile, replied, "May, in our lives, the objects around us have a profound impact on our minds and energy. Unread emails, pending tasks, and any object that reminds us of a worry are like small seeds of stress that we plant in our space. Those seeds grow, creating mental and emotional clutter. The table, a place of gathering, should be a space of calm, clarity, and renewal. If we overload our table with objects that remind us of our worries, we are blocking the peace we need to move forward." The elder continued, "When we leave unread emails, pending bills, or objects that cause us anxiety on our table, we are telling our body and mind that we are not in control. This energy of stress is transmitted to everything we do, from our relationships to our finances. The key is to remove these objects from the space where we seek calm so that we can make room for peace, creativity, and prosperity." May, understanding the wisdom in his words, asked, "Then what should I do with everything on my table? How can I find peace?" The elder looked at her kindly and said, "Start by removing everything that causes you stress, unread papers, pending tasks, and objects that remind you of what's left to do. These should be stored in a different place, away from your table. The table should be a place of rest, inspiration, and a meeting with the new. When you find yourself surrounded by calm, with the weight of worries out of sight, you will see how your mind clears, and solutions, opportunities, and peace will begin to flow toward you." May returned home with a renewed sense of clarity. She began to tidy up her table, clearing away anything that caused her stress or worry, unread emails, bills, and any objects that reminded her of unfinished tasks. Instead, she placed only what inspired and relaxed her: a small plant, a book she loved to read, and a candle to bring light and serenity to her space. Over time, May began to notice a profound change. Her mind felt calmer, her stress decreased, and the flow of abundance returned to her life. Opportunities began to surface, her relationships improved, and for the first time in a long while, May could enjoy each moment with calm and clarity. Just like May, perhaps you also have items on your table that remind you of worries or unfinished tasks. While these objects might seem harmless, they are sending a constant message of stress and clutter to your mind. Unread emails, bills, or anything that causes you anxiety should be removed from your table. It should be a sacred space, a place where energy flows freely, bringing peace, clarity, and new opportunities. If you want abundance to enter your life, start by making your table a place of calm and renewal. Remove the things that generate conflict or stress, and watch how your life fills with clarity, creativity, and prosperity. What to place on your table to attract good fortune? So what can you place on your table to attract abundance? Buddhist teachings offer a few suggestions. A small bowl of water with fresh flowers, symbolizing purity and renewal, a green plant that represents life and growth, and a symbolic object of prosperity, such as a Buddha figure or a quartz stone. These simple changes, though modest, can have a transformative impact on your life and your home. Thank you for joining me on this journey of wisdom. If this video has resonated with you, I invite you to share it and subscribe to our channel so we can continue learning together. May abundance and peace always be with you until next time, dear friends. Next.